Now, you might recall going back a while, there was a lot of hoo-ha up in the Dandenongs around Tacoma, and there was a group of people who got together and canvassed to not have a McDonald's in the little town there of Tacoma. And unfortunately, they weren't successful. McDonald's is there. But there was a man who was very much out the front of the group and also took their protest to the head office of McDonald's over in America, Gary Murature. And Gary joined us on the line because there are some issues there which he brought to life on ABC 777 one too many sevens in there 774 on the ABC with John Payne on Friday, and Gary joins us on the line. How are you, Gary?
I'm well, Glenn. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Now, I believe you had some issues up there, and I'm having a look at your press release here at the moment. Frivolous littering finds systemic of much greater problem. Chief Commissioner asked to investigate a laundry list of inappropriate behaviour. What's been happening?
Well, since the store's been open, we've maintained a presence here. In fact, what we've tried to do is four things going forward, is to create pretty much a financial blockade for the store. So we've been promoting other businesses, making sure that people are protesting respectfully and peacefully across the road. We don't block any customers from going in. We've been lobbying governments. So we got, you might have heard that if Labor's elected, they're going to reform VCAT, so that'll help us. We're taking an outreach program, so we're talking to other communities, and we're trying to leave a legacy. But while this has all been going on, we've found that McDonald's have been petty about having protesters there. They call the police on a whim, and we've raised with both the Chief Commissioner and the Minister of Police a laundry list of what we feel is inappropriate behaviour from VicPol. It came to a head when I was on the ABC on Friday, where a gentleman had picked up 3 pieces of litter on his way to work, so he's walking to the station in the morning. He deposited them at the front door of the store. Later that night, 2 officers from VicPol came round and threatened to charge him with littering for returning the litter.
Okay, hang on. When you say deposited, what did he do?
He placed it at the front door.
Right, where people are walking?
Yeah, 3 bits. Now, keep in mind...
Three bits of, when you say 3 bits of litter, what chip?
It was a coffee cup, an apple pie wrapper and a cheeseburger wrapper. Mm-hmm. These were all picked up within the 200-metre zone, which McDonald's are supposed to clean up. Now, we point out that litter is there all the time and no one takes action. This guy was picked out for whatever reason. Police were called, they viewed CCTV television, and we feel that's a waste of taxpayers' resources for something like that. Particularly when you keep in mind that this community has asked the police to investigate a lot of things that have happened, and they refuse to do it. So it's basically saying they haven't got the time. But they seem to have the time to do this on behalf of McDonald's, and we feel that there's an inappropriate relationship going on, and the Chief Commissioner needs to look into it.
Gary, I think we gave you a lot of time in the lead up to this, and quite fairly too, and I admire you and what the community of Tacoma have done, and you've certainly put your thoughts and voice forward, though. It's just starting to reek a little to me of the Albert Park protesters against the Grand Prix.
Well, it's important. It's interesting you raise Albert Park. During our campaign, we had a lady come up from Albert Park, and she spoke to us, and sort of the alarm bells went off to me at that time that what Albert Park was doing, and no disrespect to them, but they were doing the same type of protesting that they had for the last 15 or so years. We didn't want to do that. We needed to change direction, and that's what I said with the 4 things going forward to continue to lobby. We've had some enormous successes. We've got planning laws changed up here. We've got VCAT legislation. So we're trying to do positive things. And one of the biggest positive things that have come out of this is a campaign where we've created, what would you call it, a iPad app or an iPhone app where people can come into the Dandenongs, put what they want to eat, and basically it will support small businesses. And that's the sort of things that we're trying to do, protect these small businesses from the large corporations that have huge budgets for advertising. They can use their might, as you see, we're seeing in this situation, they're using their might with the police. We're sort of giving the small guy back a little bit of power. So that's the positive things that are coming out of this campaign.
Yeah. Gary, you mentioned at the start that the McDonald's were calling police on the whim. What other reasons have they been calling the police?
Well, we had a manager came out one day and he basically said that the people had to move on. We'll have a right to be there. So they call them on a whim for if they just turn up across the road. We had one gentleman that was chalking on a footpath at a vacant block next door to McDonald's, and he put a stylised McDonald's with a cross through it. Now, police were called for that. They had a look at it, and they said, look, that's harmless. It'll rub off, no problem. See you later. The next day, they turned up, and he was charged with, I think it's bill posting, and he goes before the court in Ringwood this week. So we feel that's frivolous.
All right. Well, I guess it'll be interesting to see what the courts think then and to find out what's happening there from that point of view. All right, Gary, look, it's interesting stuff. Interesting to see what's happening there. Many people getting along to the McDonald's, do you know?
No, look, we've been doing customer counting. McDonald's went on ABC 7:30 report a couple of years ago, and they said a store of that size should get about 2,000 customers a day. We think it's probably in the hundreds, maybe 300 or 400 a day. So it's trading well down. It's certainly not supported by the locals. It's not supported by tourists. It's just a few tradies that are grabbing a quick bite on the way home. So it's a disaster.
Well, I guess time will tell on that one, won't it, Gary? Because they're not going to keep it open if it's not going well. All righty.
Exactly.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for that. And look, if you've got the tenacity of the Albert Park protesters and you've got 20 years to sit by, you never know what could happen.
It's not over till it's over.